So lately, I've been engaged in a couple of debates about what the purpose of transformation is. I think that a lot of the time, leaders working on transformation, they don't consider the human side of transformation. And so transformation is viewed as the implementation of a particular change, the navigation from one platform that we used to do accounting to another platform that we used to do accounting, the migration of data from one server to another, the movement of people from one department to another, implementing changes or systems around innovation, governance, or some other kind of governance. This is what's considered the goal of transformation. I remember actually in one of my webinars, there was pushback on my idea around feel-good transformations. And the notion was that that's not the goal of transformation. The goal of transformation is just to change one thing from its current state to a different state. And once you've succeeded in changing the thing from its current state to a different state, then you've succeeded with your transformation. And I guess in one sense that is true. You do have the mechanical business goals of transformation, and you do need to accomplish those. But I actually think that change that sticks is to also take the human perspective, right? And this goes beyond how we plan change with our roadmaps and dashboards, but also thinking about how people experience change. So in order to kind of think a little bit deeper about this, I kind of reached out to the past and kind of leaned in on a concept from Peter Drucker that I'd like to kind of share with you here and see how that might connect to transformation. So uh, Peter Drucker famously said that the purpose of a business is to create customers. And the reason why Peter Drucker said the purpose of a business is to create customers was because he was trying to make this distinction between, again, shareholder value, which is one of the purposes of a business, I guess, or one of the goals of a business, shareholder value, creating revenue, creating profits, and growing those things. I think that's an important goal for any business. But if you exclusively focus on that and you don't actually focus on where that value comes from, i.e., the value for shareholders comes from value created by customers, then you're far more likely to start making mistakes around how you actually create that value. So if you focus exclusively on shareholder value, you might end up destroying customer value. So you end up doing counterintuitive things. And so it's really important to kind of think about customer value. So how does this apply to transformation? Because if the purpose of a business is to create customers or to create a customer, like Peter Drucker said, then what is the purpose of a transformation? Well, I actually believe that the purpose of a transformation beyond the change, the mechanics of the change, is actually to create champions, people who really strongly believe in the change. Because if you don't have champions of the change, then the change won't stick. And so the purpose of a business is to create customers, and these customers buy our products and services. And the purpose of transformation is to create champions who buy into the change that we're trying to kind of put in place. Because if you don't have people that buy in, then the change is not going to last that long. It could last as long as you're closely supervising people who are doing the work, but it actually won't last long enough for it to become a sustainable change. And so, as far as I can see, if you're driving a transformation that doesn't have champions, it doesn't really have momentum or energy. It's mostly leaders forcing people to comply to the change. And this notion of buy-in is the one of the more one of the most important outcomes of the change flywheel that I've been designing. And I really believe that you can create momentum for change by just engaging in consistent actions as the change agents trying to drive the change, and having those consistent actions produce visible outcomes or visible results. And then it is those results that can grow engagement, right? They kind of attract people to kind of join the work that you're doing. And as buy-in increases, the number of actions you can do also increases, and then the visible outcomes you can create also increases, which further actually grows this buy-in. So growing the buy-in becomes the ultimate outcome of most change management processes. You want to grow a buy-in. And so that's why I really think that you do need to, create champions that evaluate the change positively, accept it as legitimate, and are willing to advocate for the change to others, and also actively contribute to the success of the changes that we're trying to put in place. And so ultimately, I really do believe that the purpose of transformation is to create these champions, people that strongly believe in what we're trying to do. And if we just exclusively focus on just having the mechanics of the change and the roadmap of the change and not really check on how people are experiencing the change, then we won't make change that lasts.